Hello everyone, good evening.
Hello, good evening. All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome again to another advocacy campaign and on mapping feminism in folklore. My name is Stella, and to keep things running smoothly, hold on, sorry. Great. To keep things running smoothly, we will kindly request and let you know that this meeting will be recorded for documentary purposes. If you do not wish to be recorded, you may turn off your camera and participate via chat. Also, please do mute your microphones when not speaking. Use the chat space or raise your hands to ask questions during the Q&A session at the end. And I would also like to remind you that the friendly space policy applies to this event. So this is our agenda. We'll do a brief welcome and introduction to the workshop, a brief overview of Feminism and Folklore Initiative. Then we'll go to the main topic, which is mapping feminism in folklore, in African folklore, which will be led by Tochi Precious. And then we'll go to our Q&A and contributions from participants. Great. So once again, I warmly welcome you to the 4th Feminism and Folklore Workshop. Today's session focuses on the important theme on mapping feminism in African folklore. It is a privilege to gather here and explore this vital topic, one that lies at the heart of Feminism and Folklore Initiative. This initiative is more than just a writing contest, it is a global movement addressing the gaps in how we document or represent the intersection of gender and culture. Since its inception in 2019, Feminism and Folklore has become a platform for uncovering and preserving the stories of women and gender diverse individuals who have played pivotal roles in shaping our culture and folk traditions. These are traditions that connect us to our heritage and define our communities, yet many of our narratives remain untold or underrepresented. Now, an overview of the Feminism and Folklore Initiative. At its core, this initiative focuses on 4 key goals. 1, documentation, which is capturing and preserving the richness of global folk cultures for future generations. 2, representation, which is bridging the gap by giving visibility to women and gender diverse individuals who have shaped folklore but are often overlooked. 3, engagement, that is fostering collaborations among contributors from diverse backgrounds and promoting intercultural dialogue and mutual understanding. And then 4, advocacy, which is challenging societal norms and inequalities reflected in folklore while spotlighting progressive narrative. Through themes like traditional festivals, dance, cuisines, crafts, and stories, feminism and folklore asks critical questions. Whose voices are missing and how can we make representation of culture more inclusive? This initiative empowers contributors worldwide to address this gap by documenting forgotten tales, written about inspiring figures, and reframing narrative. This effort not only enriches Wikipedia platforms, but also inspire meaningful social changes. This workshop, as part of the initiative, is a testimony to these goals. So your participation in this session is crucial, and we hope it equips you with the tools and inspiration needed to continue this vital work. Together, we can celebrate cultural diversity while addressing gender disparities in knowledge representation. Once again, I welcome you, and let's make this an impactful discussion. Thank you. So I'm going to briefly introduce our facilitator or session leader for today. Her name is Tochi Precious, as I mentioned earlier. So I'm delighted to introduce our guest speaker, Tochi. She is the co-founder Igbo Wikimedia's organization. She's a very passionate advocate for gender equality and the preservation of cultural heritage. She has been an active member of the Wikimedia Committee for several years and has significantly contributed to initiatives that bridge gender disparities in the representation of culture and folk traditions. Tochi has previously organized a successful campaign for Feminism and Folklore project, where she demonstrated her commitment to highlighting intersections of gender and folklore. Her experience and deep understanding of this subject makes her a perfect fit to lead us through today's topic of mapping feminism in African folklore. We are thrilled to have her here today with us, and I'm sure her insights will inspire and guide our ongoing efforts to ensure that diverse cultural narratives are represented in more inclusive and equitable way. Tochi, thank you for joining us today. The floor is yours. So I will share your screen and then you can continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Stella. Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. Good evening. This is Tochi. I can start sharing? All right. Thank you. Just give me a moment.
Okay. Great. So should I share the screen for you? Oh, you've done that. Great, great. Continue, please.
Yeah, I'm just trying to confirm what you can see on my screen.
Yes, I see mapping feminism in Africa, African folklore.
Okay, what else?
Yeah, an image, the background basically, an image with a lantern, lights and all that, yeah.
Okay, so it's in full screen. I just want to confirm it's in full screen.
Yeah, I believe so.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Once again, I'm Tochi. I'm from Nigeria, and I'm going to be sharing with you how we can map feminism in African folklore. And so I'm going to put a disclaimer. I am not that this presentation or this workshop involves or includes stories from different parts of Africa, especially folklore stories from different parts of Africa. I am not so perfect in pronouncing all the names I've added here, and I might not know the story like you who might be in one or more of the countries. So, pardon me, and if I make a mistake somewhere, please call my attention to it. And if you have other great stories or maybe additions to make to the ones I've added, please feel free. I can talk 100% about the ones in Nigeria, but in Ghana, I'm coming from an external perspective. In Angola, the same thing. So, yeah, I just want to bring that to your attention. All right. Okay. So the objectives of this workshop is number one, to explore how feminism is embedded in African folklore. Africa is a continent that is rich in storytelling, folklore. While growing up, we had a lot of cool stories, and then these stories had different perspectives to them, but most of them were told from a single perspective. And it's also cool to know that Africa is central, not just to these stories, but then to keeping all of our, should I say, storytelling in African culture actually influences a lot of things. And it is also central, not just in keeping our cultures alive, but in also helping to support communities, and then to also make a sense of the world around us. Now, another thing we're going to learn from this is to examine how traditional stories highlight the roles, struggles, and strengths of women. And then another one is to empower participants, which is you, all of you here, to reinterpret folklore through a feminist lens. I see some messages in the chat. Oh, it says the slide didn't move to objectives. Okay, let me try again. Sorry. Let me try sharing again. I'm going to stop sharing. Then I'll start all over. Maybe I'll use the full screen. Do you see it in full screen?
Yes.
Okay, so you can see the objectives now. Great.
Yeah.
All right. So these were the objectives I just talked about. And now the next thing I'm going to is just a little African proverb. And this African proverb actually comes from the Igbo language. I had to translate it to English. And it says, until the lion tells its side of the story, the tale of the hunt will always glorify the hunter. So this is more like, if you know Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, you will always, you must have heard so much about the dangers of a single story, single-sided story, or a single story. And this is what it just summarizes. It simply means that when people are telling stories or trying to give accounts of what happened, they will actually tell this story based on their own perspective and not yours. So until you are there, or until another person who has a second account comes to either counter the other narrative or to also give a second account, then there would be kind of two different stories to compare with. So that is what this is all about. Each time the hunter goes to hunt, even if he misses, or even if he never caught any lion for that day, he will always come back to tell you people that, today I went to hunt. In fact, I killed 100 lions. You didn't go there with him, so you would actually have no idea of what happened. And since the lion is not there to also tell his side of the story, you're definitely going to believe what the hunter is talking about. All right. So I'm going to, I don't know how many of us are here. I wanted it to have been a kind of group activity, but maybe I could just, like anyone can nominate himself or herself. So it's a warm-up activity and it's supposed to be story cycle. Now, I want to hear, what is one folklore or traditional story you grew up hearing? Volunteers? We grew up hearing a lot of stories when we're coming up, like when you were kids. Your grandma must have told you stories, your grandpa, maybe your own parents. So can you tell us, what were some of those stories you heard while growing up? Joy? Yeah, someone said Tortoise and the Wife. Okay. Yeah, Joy Mba, please go ahead. I see your hand is up. Just briefly.
Okay, right. Growing up, I heard the popular story of the wicked stepmother and maybe a girl that lost her mother, sort of. How they should go to the stream to fetch water on the day of the spirit day or something like that. She'll come back being favored by an old woman. Then the wicked stepmother will send her own daughter to go mimic the same thing, and they will come back with disastrous results. And that.
These are the issues. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. So here, I just want you to pick up something. Women have been portrayed as wicked stepmother. So mark that somewhere. Yeah, I saw another hand that was up. Okay, it's like the person changed his or her mind. Dr. Solomon has the story of the serum. Can you please share?
Okay, greetings everyone. Well, in my place, I'm from Opobo in River State. So there's one single bridge. The bridge has no direction, and it's just one single bridge. Like, let me turn on my camera so I can demonstrate.
Okay, that'll be great.
You can see me here?
Yeah, thank you.
So it's like a straight line, a parallel line. It has no meeting point. Maybe one of the meetings I will bring it. So there is this ram, they say, that has 7 horns. They also play it as a masquerade in my place, is a ram. So I grew up hearing that story, but I never saw it. According to the story they told us, they said that before they were able to construct that bridge, it's just one single parallel bridge that has no, is just there. So they said before they were able to construct the bridge, that there is this white man who sacrificed himself, the people that came to do the bridge. So what they did was that they had to tie a rope on the white man's waist, and they gave him a bottle which they used when he got in there to negotiate with the sea ram. So immediately he was done with the negotiation. It was a trade by barter that they have to cage the sea ram inside the bottle, then they have to take the white man. So immediately the white man put the ram inside the bottle. He now had to come up. Immediately he came up and threw the bottle to his colleagues. They now dragged him back into the sea. That was the story we heard. That was why that bridge is called danger. Till tomorrow, if you're going to that bridge, they will tell you, be careful, that is danger. That's the story I heard growing up, but I don't know how true it is. It still tales by moonlight to me.
Thank you very much for sharing. Thank you. Okay, Ibiba Odili, Totis and his wife. Do you mind sharing? Just he is no longer in the list. Okay. Ibiba Odili, I don't know if you're here and you would like to share.
The story when I was expecting a particular on going to borrow to spend lavishly, time he expected the money didn't come. Sorry, maybe some other time I'm talking, but it's like you can't hear me.
We can actually hear you.
Okay, can I continue?
Yes, please.
Okay, so the story by my grandmother about tortoise that was expecting a certain amount of money. The money hadn't come, so he went about borrowing money, living lavishly, expecting the money to come. The wife kept on warning him, he refused. So at the end of the day, the money didn't come, and those whom he had collected money from came and beat him up so badly that that shell on his back was broken, and that is how he ended up having a broken shell. So the moral lesson from the story is that what has not reached your hand does not belong to you. So you don't spend ahead what you don't have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is another cool one. And then in this story, what does it portray the woman as? Anyone?
It portrays her as somebody.
We lost you. I think you muted yourself before. All right, someone is raising her hand. It actually portrayed the woman as, let's say, someone who is upright and has dignity. Okay. Umaswaye.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Can hear you.
The title of the story is Omandela. It's a folklore. It's an Eke folklore that tells the story of a young girl. So the girl in the story is portrayed as very beautiful. She had suitors coming to seek for her hand in marriage, but she kept turning them down. So there was a spirit transformed into a human being and came later on to seek for her hand in marriage, turned to a human, and they got married before Mandela realized that the person was not a human being. Kind of. So before they got married, Mandela's mother was sick. This person healed the mother just to win Mandela's hand in marriage. So she ended up with the evil spirit instead of an actual human being. So that's one folklore that my grandmom used to tell us.
Thank you. So in this one, what does this story portray the woman as? Anyone? Okay, Franca, your hand is still up. Do you want to?
No, it was a hand I raised before.
Oh, okay, okay. Thank you. So this actually still kind of demonizes the woman, but then in some of our African folklores, there were still strong female characters. Now, the problem we had is that most of these stories, you see the ones that we've heard, the one that the woman was portrayed as the wicked stepmother. You will hear the one where she was portrayed as someone who just like wants to get married to a very rich man and ended up getting married to a spirit. But then these are just like one single-sided stories. And the more we keep adding them, the more we keep talking about them, the more it becomes our reality. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is exploring feminism in folklore. And before that, I would like to say thank you to everyone who has shared the stories. So it simply means that even if every other person didn't get to share their own stories, it means that we understand what folklore is. Now, I'm going to be talking about exploring feminism in folklore. But I'm going to be defining this feminism from the African feminism part of it, because there is also the Western feminism. We all have, should I say, what we are rooting for and what we are fighting for, just slightly different goals. In African feminism, it strives to achieve gender equality, or should I say, yeah, gender equality, not to subjugate men. In Nigeria, where I come from, and where a lot of us come from, when you say you're a feminist, it translates to you hate men. They said you don't like bras, you don't like anything that has to do with men. They call them witches. They just want to kill all men. So this is what it's literally all about, but it's not what it's all about. That's what they see it as here. But then this African feminism is striving to fight for education, is striving to fight to challenge harmful traditions like the female genital mutilation. Does someone want to speak? Yes, thank you, Carolyn. So this African feminism is struggling to actually striving to challenge harmful traditions, like I mentioned, like the female genital mutilation. I was listening to a TED talk from a Senegalese lady who is, she's actually Australian Senegalese, and she talked about how when she was little, her mother took her to where they had to mutilate her, and then to how do you what they call this stuff, in circumcise her rather, where they had to circumcise her. And according to her, the pain was excruciating that she had to push her mother off from her body because she was holding her down. And few years down the line, a lot of things started dawning on her. One of them being that because of the circumcision, she could no longer be able to give birth. And each time she learned one new thing that is like one awful new thing that is going to be happening to her or she's going to be experiencing, she would always go back to her mother to say, "Why did you do this to me?" And her mother always felt that she was doing the best thing for her as her daughter and as her child, without knowing that she was actually doing more harm than good. And then in feminist stories or African feminism, we had women leaders like Fumilayo Ransom Kuti from Nigeria. We had Wangari Maathai, we had Njinga, we had Queen Nzinga. These were all African leaders, and these are actually their pictures I have added here. We also had the Aba Women Riots in 1929. Yeah. So you might recognize some of these women here, you might not recognize them, but it's all good. All right. Now, when it comes to folklore, folklores are traditional beliefs. Slide is frozen. Okay. I don't know how this happens. Oh, oh God. I'm sorry about this. Let me try again. Oh, shit. Thank you, Caroline. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is okay. You didn't know you are in one place.
Okay. What do you see now? Do you see this, the folklore part?
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah, you can see.
Okay. All right. So, I was talking about folklores. Folklores are traditional beliefs, customs, stories, and practices passed down through generations. Examples of these folklores are the ones that we've actually just heard here today. They can be in form of songs. We had the the folklore songs in Igbo. We call them akoko. For people who speak Igbo, you understand. And I'm also sure there are other parts of Africa that do this kind of, I think they call them ballads. They also do ballads. There were also proverbs, there are dances, there are rituals. So this is what folklore is about. Do you see my next screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Clear
Just
now.
to
You are doing well now.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So, like I mentioned earlier, I might not perfectly know the stories like you from the countries where these things happened. So I'm going to try my best. What I'm going to be talking about is examples like case studies